of the company's goals. One, the shareholders owns the company. They must see themselves as the owner of the company, and everybody must have his or her own right to the to the business and the operation of the company. Two, the company employs directors to control the management of the business, to take care of the operation of the business. There can be more than 1, 2, or 3 directors. Depends on the areas in which the business needs to be well organized and taken care of, that the directors will be heading it. Then the directors may also be shareholders, like we said. They can be part of the shareholders. In fact, it is in most cases they are part of the shareholders, because they will know what is really going on, and that one also may help them to really put in their full effort to the success of the business. It won't be like they are working for somebody, but working for themselves. Also, directors are responsible to the shareholders. They need to give account of what is really going on to the shareholders. The shareholders have contributed money. They have contributed a huge amount of capital. In that case, they need to know what is going on. How is their money going into the business? What are they doing with their money? The directors need to give account of all this. They need to be interacting with the shareholders and show the shareholders that are still interested in the business. So the performance of the business, the operation of the business must be shown to the shareholders in 1 or 2 ways. Maybe through the meeting, calling the general meeting that is usually called annual general meeting, and give account of what has been going on during the year, or through one means of messages, through social media or the other, through emails or the other. They must devise the means of communicating with the shareholders, so that the shareholders will know what is really going on with their business. Now let's look at the differences between private and public limited companies. Shares in a public can be traded on stock exchange and can be bought by members of the general public. That means the general public has the right to go and buy shares from the public limited companies. But in the private limited company, it is not so, because it's private and it's owned by a set of people. It's not open to just anybody. It's not open to everybody, but to a particular set of people. Also, shares in a private limited company are not available to the general public. It is just limited to that set of people that have started the business. Then the issue share capital, which is the one of the share capital that will be contributed initially, is somehow greater than 50,000 euro in a public limited company. That is to show us how big the company usually be, how big and gigantic the public limited company usually be, because it is organized by government, and the capital to start and operate such a business is usually available. Then the reason behind the public limited company that make it to involve a huge amount of capital, we'll later get to that, because it's not a small business. It's not usually a small business, but a larger one. Then a private limited company may have a smaller or larger capital. It depends on the capacity of the shareholders. The company and the business can only grow to the extent of the amount of capital that the shareholders have contributed. Now, why do we need public companies? Why do we need public limited companies? There are some specific reasons that makes a certain country's government to organize and establish such a company. One, to provide essential services not fully provided by the private company. There are some services that is needful in the society, but the private company are not able to provide such as services, or to provide it to be enough for the society. In that case, public government needs to come in order to put hand into the provision of such services, so that it will be available for everybody. Also, in order to prevent exploitation of customers, private companies attempt to exploit customers with the high price of their products or their services. But when companies or when such company is established and organized by government, it is expected of such company to bring out such products or services at a lower rate so that it will be available to the general public, especially the poor and low income earners in the society. Also, to avoid duplication of resources, to avoid using the same resources for so many things, we need to, the company will be in charge of regulating how the resources of such a country, of such environment, of such a nation will be well organized and well utilized so that it will really bring out a maximum satisfaction to the company. And the next one I have here is to protect jobs and maintain key industries. There are some industries that are needful in a society, that are important in a society, and how can such an industry be available? The public needs to come in order to establish such. Now let's consider some questions under this topic. The first question is the minimum and the maximum number of shareholders in private limited company are A. 1 to 30 shareholders, B. 2 to 50 shareholders, C. 2 to 40 shareholders, D. None of the above. Second question. Another name for active partner is dash. A. Working partner, B. Dormant partner, C. Sleeping partner, D. Managing partner. Number 3. In sole proprietorship, decisions are made by dash. A. Owner, B. Government, C. Board of Directors, D. Management. Number 4. The most common form of business enterprise is dash. A. Partnership, B. Sole proprietorship, C. Joint stock company, D. Limited liability company. Number 5. A limited liability company is owned by dash. A. President of the country, B. Workers, C. Shareholders, D. General management. Now let's answer them one after the other. The first question that says the minimum and the maximum number of shareholders in private limited company is 2 to 50 shareholders, which made the option number B to be the correct answer. 2 to 50 shareholders. Question number 2 that says another name for active partner is dash. The correct answer for that is D, which is managing partner. The active partner is the one that manages the business. The number 3 question that says in sole proprietorship, decisions are made by dash. The correct answer for that one is A, which is the owner. The sole proprietorship is the owner of the business and is the one that takes decision. Not government, not board of directors, and not management. The next question, number 4, that says the most common form of business enterprise is dash. The correct answer is B, which is sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is the most common form of business enterprise that you can find in any society. And the last question that says a limited liability company is owned by dash. A limited liability company is owned by shareholders, which make option number C to be the correct answer.